Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you've ever felt completely overwhelmed by the sheer number of productivity apps, the hidden subscription fees, and those endless notifications that are supposed to organize your life, well, you are definitely in the right place. Today we're looking at something wildly different. We are exploring the Easy Daily Checklist. It's a tool created by Andrew Easy Anderson. And what's really fascinating here is the origin story. Andrew built this out of his own personal frustration with ADHD and honestly a lifetime of lost Post-it notes. He wanted something that completely flipped the script on modern productivity tools. And, spoiler alert, he actually succeeded by going incredibly small.
All right, let's just jump right into our roadmap for today. First, we'll meet the ultimate anti-app. Then, we'll cover winning the day-tight compartment, followed by taming the distracted brain. After that, we'll get into the barn and 707 habit. And finally, your data, your control.
So let's kick things off with part 1. Meet the ultimate anti-app.
When this tool launched on July 4th, 2026, which, by the way, was America's 250th birthday, it was designed to be the exact opposite of today's exhausting software ecosystem. I mean, just think about a typical habit app for a second. They want, what, 30 to 50 bucks a year, they force you to create an account, hold your data hostage, and then push a massive 200 megabyte install that is just absolutely full of upsells. Well, Andrew's checklist is a total rebellion against all of that. It is completely free forever. There are no accounts, zero subscriptions, and absolutely no data harvesting. Your data stays entirely on your own device.
And honestly, this might be the most mind-blowing part of the whole thing. 40 kilobytes. Seriously, the entire application isn't some massive download. It is literally just a single HTML file. You download it one time, save it straight to your Documents folder, and you own it forever. Plus, it works completely offline.
Andrew's whole philosophy with this is putting the free in freedom. Since it's just an HTML file, you can literally right-click, hit View Source, and see every single line of code. There is absolutely nothing hidden from you. You might be wondering, okay, how does this actually survive without a paywall? Well, it relies entirely on a voluntary patron wall and a sponsor-a-day calendar. So instead of those flashy, annoying ads, you just get one quiet, verified quote that appears at the bottom of your list each day. And the best part? The moment you check off your first task, that quote just fades away. It is beautifully non-intrusive, which means your attention is actually protected, not sold off to the highest bidder.
Moving right along to part 2, winning the day-tight compartment.
So this tool isn't just about clever coding, it's actually built on 20 years of deep thinking about human productivity. More specifically, it's built on the concept of living in day-tight compartments. This is an idea that Dale Carnegie borrowed from the legendary physician Sir William Osler. Osler used this fantastic metaphor of a great ocean liner. You see, a captain can press a button to seal the ship into watertight compartments, so if there's a leak in one area, it can't sink the whole vessel. Osler argued that we should live our lives the exact same way. Seal off yesterday because, well, it's unchangeable. Seal off tomorrow because it's completely unpredictable. All your energy needs to be poured into executing the only thing you actually have control over, today.
So how does the app actually help you win today? Enter the Dan Edition Day Score feature. This was inspired by business coach Dan Sullivan, who tracks a 250-point best day. This app basically gamifies your daily focus. Every task on your list is worth points. Taking your medicine or going for a quick walk, that gets you 10 points. An hour of deep work gets you 20. A really great meeting, 30 points. Closing a massive deal, go ahead and hand yourself a 50. It puts your score right there at the top of your list to keep you totally motivated.
Because, simply put, your number today determines your tomorrow. It's all about building this streak of highly effective days. But listen, Andrew is all about flexibility here. If you're someone who just hates keeping score and you really just want a simple checklist, you can ignore the numbers entirely. They will stay completely out of your way.
All right, let's jump into Section 3, Taming the Distracted Brain.
Now, the creator of this app has been super open about his struggles with ADHD. Though, to be fair, he actually prefers to view it as a superpower. But it really did force him to solve the ultimate modern problem. How do you actually tame a distracted brain? Well, for Andrew, the big revelation came in an event called Get Altitude, run by Eben Pagan. In a room just packed full of complex business strategies, the biggest takeaway was surprisingly simple. Don't just work on a task for a set amount of time.
I absolutely love this quote from the source material. It goes, "When a job has no edges, your brain treats it like a wet bar of soap. Put a countdown on it and something funny happens. The squirrels go quiet." Isn't that great? Andrew actually used to use physical desktop timers to create these edges for his work, but he joked that his desk essentially became a retirement home for lost timers, just because he'd always carry them around the house and lose them.
And that is exactly where the 50-minute secret comes in.
To fix that whole missing timer problem, every single task in this app now carries its own built-in sprint clock. You can set it to 50 minutes, maybe 15, or even 25. You just hit start, and the timer counts down directly on the task itself and right up there in your browser tab. When your time is finally up, a gentle chime lets you know.
Decide the minutes before you start, and the minutes stop deciding for you. Since every task has its own clock, you can literally have a 50-minute block for deep creative work sitting right next to a 15-minute rapid-fire email sweep. It is a total game changer for focus, really eliminating that anxiety of starting a massive project simply because you only have to commit to the clock. Okay, Section 4, the barn and 707 habit.
So we've talked about how to focus on today, but what do you do with those random thoughts and future plans so they don't just completely clutter up your present? You use the barn. This is basically your storage space for future tasks. Think of your ideas kind of like hay. You cut them when they're green, you store them safely in the barn, and then you only feed them out when you actually need them. Tapping the barn in the app lets you just jot down a distracting idea to immediately get it out of your head. It stays completely off today's active list until you're ready to hit harvest and assign it a specific date.
And that leads us perfectly into the 7:07 p.m. habit. Now, why 7:07? Well, because that is the exact time on a Thursday night that Andrew originally began writing the code for this app. You can set a gentle nudge for 7:07 p.m. to open your Tomorrow tab and pre-plan the 3 to 5 crucial tasks for the very next day. By strictly limiting it to just a handful of items, you really force yourself to prioritize what truly moves the needle, instead of just, creating a giant wish list. Which brings us to the real secret sauce of this entire system. When you decide what tomorrow looks like the night before, tomorrow goes right. By tackling your pre-planned items first thing in the morning, you beat those shiny object distractions to the punch before they even have a chance to derail you.
Finally, Section 5. Your data, your control. Let's talk about the practical side of this whole thing for a second. In the app, there's a section called the silo. This guarantees that your tasks live entirely in your browser, on your specific device. Nothing goes to the internet, period. With literally one click of a button, you can download a tiny backup file of your entire history, which makes your setup completely bulletproof. Your data is yours alone.
But you might be asking, what if you want to use it on a desktop and a laptop? Well, you don't need some third-party server to do it. You simply install Google Drive or OneDrive, click Setup Sync right there in the app, and save that single HTML file to your cloud folder on both computers. Because the app reads and writes locally directly to that synced file, your two computers stay perfectly in step without ever handing your private personal data over to a random tech company's servers. It is just elegant, simple, and incredibly secure.
So I want to leave you with this final thought. In a world full of bloated, expensive, and distraction-heavy software, are you ready to take back control of your day with just 40 kilobytes? It completely challenges how we think about the tools we use to organize our lives. Because sometimes the absolute most powerful thing you can do is just strip away all that noise and get back to a simple, focused checklist. Thanks for exploring this amazing system with me today, and I genuinely hope it helps you win your tomorrow.